Well, welcome back to Cuckoo Chronicle. We have more fun before and after and during the show, so it's hard for us to stop.
It's hard to hate your job when you laugh.
That's very true.
Try to laugh every day.
And you know what a joy this has been. It's the month of May. We've been doing this since November.
I've mentioned this a couple of times. The time has flown by.
Yeah, it really has.
I am shocked. I still vividly remember coming up to interview for the position.
Right.
The first time I brought the family up, the Thanksgiving right after the interview and the offer happened, the first time we had our interview coming back through and just everything along the way, it really feels like, it's the weirdest feeling because part of me feels like it was yesterday.
Yes.
But then another part of me feels like I've been here for a really long time.
Yes, exactly.
And so I guess that's a good place to be.
Absolutely. And hey, speaking of being here for a very long time, we have two wonderful guests today. And you both have been. I was saying that
you're the only one of the two of us that can make that comment. I want to go on the record.
Yell that.
Just remember.
I mean, really. So we have two wonderful guests, and one of whom taught me 25 years ago how to use the emerging technology at the time, which was a laptop.
We're very excited to have Maureen McGinty and Lori Prwandowski,
welcome you guys.
who both do some amazing work with our kids at the middle school. Lori kind of expands past the middle school. Let her talk about that if she chooses. But really, the biggest thing when to have them come in is, and I was so impressed, is our drone program. They are co-sponsors of the drone program.
So fun.
So we want to get them in. I know there's been previous segments, I think, on the Yankee Network, on the other shows going on.
And we'll do some more of those, but it's amazing what our students can do. So
100%.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here.
So talk about, as always, new guy coming in, what's the history? How did we get started? And then we'll kind of see where things lead from there. So how did what was the spark?
All right, so in January of 2023, we were doing some curriculum with CAST. And then that summer, August of 2023, we went to a professional development and we met Luann Cormier, who is in charge of the drone competition in this Northeast region. And so she helped us write a grant. And so we ended up, September of 2023, so it's been 2 school years. So we got the grant, and so we were able to purchase the equipment and we were able to purchase the drones, and we started with 16 kids. We had 8 females and 8 males, and we went to several competitions. Our drone team made it to the national finals, and we drove to West Virginia and we competed.
Oh, and by the way, while we're interviewing you, we're going to be looking at some footage of our students flying drones we took a couple of years ago.
This year is our 2nd year, so we know a lot more of what not to do and what to do. Right. So we had 24 students this year, and we expanded to 6 teams. So not as many drone competitions this year. It's really hard to find ways to participate in this region because somebody has to host the competition, and we actually hosted our own so that our kids could compete. So we've been busy.
Yeah, so you actually will then compete with other schools as well. Okay.
It's such I will tell you, I want to jump in because I had an opportunity. I was the voice of announcing for that competition. And it was so neat to watch because there's competitions and collaboration. So do me a favor, if you would, just talk about the competition, because I had so many questions, which we won't have enough time in this segment for that. But what does the competition entail? What are the skills? How does that work?
So flying probably is one of the easier skills, right? As they've been practicing, they become more comfortable with it. There's a great deal of focus on communication, as a team, in terms of team members supporting each other, coming up with strategies, because the bottom line with the competition is you're trying to earn as many points as you can for your team. And so they really have to work together, developing those strategies, working through it, making observations, and communicating that. So they each have their own competition logbook. Each team has their own competition logbook. So they are constantly reflecting and making note, right, of their progress with that and some of the challenges. And I would say that is probably one of the areas that is most challenging, right? To kind of reflect on that, fine-tune it, and move forward with it.
That's a very advanced skill.
It is. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Being able to figure out their strategies and what they're doing right.
Well, and you think about the idea of reflection and looking at data and coming to a conclusion. And did it work? What did I learn? What am I
Right.
going to do different? I mean,
Yes.
if there was ever a 21st century applicable skill,
Yeah.
I've never heard of
it.
one better than
Right.
what happens within there.
Right. During the competition, the judges will actually interview the students and they will look at their notebook. So as Maureen said, it's not just about flying or coding. They're looking for how people are working together and working through their notebooks. So some of the awards are straight out, you had the highest score. Other awards are, we looked at your notebook, we looked at your interview, we watched how you interacted with other teams, because when you're there, the computer says, this team is flying together with that team during
Right.
round one. Round two is this and this. So you're flying with kids you don't know.
Right.
So you have to have the common language, you have to have the common expectations. You're trying to get as many points, so you need to make sure that you're doing your part because this other team is counting on you to do that. So
Right.
it's a huge piece that we work with the kids to understand all of those elements throughout a competition.
How did you two team up? How did that become?
10 years ago, Lori was involved with the interview committee that interviewed me.
There we go.
And we have been working together ever
Oh,
since.
that's
It's just, it's
because
wonderful
Such a good synergy.
in terms of, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that really filters down to the kids, right?
Well, that confidence, you see that connection. I don't know if you'd heard this story, but I remember watching at the competition one of our kids, because they were working with a high school team. And then one of the things, early on it was neat because it's like, what are you good at? What am I good at? As they decide who's
Gotcha.
going to kind of do what. And there was zero conversation. To talk about the leadership, one of our kids, not a very tall young man, walked up and looked at this high school kid who was very tall and said, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what are you going to do?
I love
Any
that.
questions? All right. And they were done. And I was like, God, like that's what we want to see out of our kids. It's just that
Exactly.
confidence and that
Yeah.
excitement, and it translated so well because and then afterwards the high school kid was like, "You're right. You were great at it."
Great. That's
I mean,
wonderful.
just and it's all about common success.
Got it.
And that's, again, that collaboration piece, which, again, is a 21st century skill, our ability to do that.
Is it all after school, or when do they meet?
Yeah, it is after school. That's the most part of it, but that presents barriers for kids. So we try to have kids come up during flex, which is like a study hall time for them.
Okay.
So kids who have parents who can pick them up, they might stay for a short time after school because they can't stay all the way till late bus. So we do a lot to try to open it up to as many people as possible within the confines of we have to do our regular work during the day.
Sure.
So it is mostly after school to practice.
I want to know, what are you flying? What are the kids? What kind of drones are they flying? Are they little? Are they big? Are they what are they like? Maureen, are they
So the code drone, it's actually code drone EDU, and
Okay.
it does not have a camera. We do have some drones that were involved with the Take Flight program that do the teller drones, but this particular drone is for the competition, and it is set up to be able to code, so students
Nice.
can pilot that autonomously, right, as well as manual flight. So yeah, they're quite small, but they're maneuverable. They are indoor drones. It's not something you would take outdoors, right, with
Right, right,
different
right,
air
right.
pressure or breeze.
Right.
So it is all.
And the coding is part of the
indoors.
competition as
It
well, right?
is.
The
It
autonomous
certainly
flight,
is.
Yes.
which is really neat. When all of a sudden a kid hits that, I did watch one young lady. She pressed execute, and it went up and behind her, and it was just like, oh,
Well, isn't that amazing? Through the coding of the
you
drone.
do everything right, think it's going to go well.
It's probably the most challenging piece of the competition. So the kids who bubble to the top to do that are the kids who have to have a lot of resilience, and really they have 5 minutes to tweak their code, because
Wow.
every time they show up at a competition, the competition field is in a different location. So there might be airflow that's impacting it, or the competition field might not be set up exactly how it's designed design because of whatever, so it might be off by a couple centimeters, which is going to totally impact the code. So they have to really dig in.
really-
I mean, it's pretty easy to fly it manually,
Right,
but
yes,
thinking through the
exactly.
programming is a whole
It's a
different
whole
skill.
And debugging, if you've got a
Yep.
problem somewhere, knowing where the problem is. I mean, it was
You must have, it sounds
was
like your mouth
fun.
was.
I was,
agape.
well, I'm in awe because anytime our kids are doing stuff that they get excited about, it's really fun to watch.
Sure.
But then knowing the complexity, because I have a drone myself that I bought when we were doing a athletic complex upgrade, and I didn't want to pay for the chief superintendent. I didn't want to pay for somebody, so I told my wife, it's for work, honey. And so I bought
He's out in the backyard with the kids.
chasing the dog and with the neighbors. If I had, run it, then heard some weird noise
There's
around the
Mr.
corner.
Forney again.
Run the drone high and try to see what's there. But having a little bit of experience flying a drone myself, knowing what gets involved and what you can and can't do with it, and
Right.
also I've got a friend who's got a Kansas City drone company, and he does bridge
wow.
inspections and building inspections with drones. And then the farming community that I came from, Precision, you've got president of our parent-teacher organization had bought these enormous drones. They're like 6 or 8,
Wow.
and motor. I mean, big
Yeah.
things to
Yeah.
spray fields and to survey. So this is we can say it's great skills and things like that. The transferability of these
These are
skills
applicable.
are
Yeah. There's so many.
immediate.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's a good segue into a very important part of the competition is during the interview, they actually ask the students how are drones used in the work world. So every single practice, we show a video and we have the students write down things. So we show like videos of how they deliver food, but also we showed them one where it was one of those AED machines and the
Yes.
drone it opened up and it had the pads and the person was looking through the camera and telling them how to put it on. We showed the search and rescue. The inspection, how drones do all the dirty work, all the unsafe things, all of that stuff. So the kids have to
yes.
watch those and process and answer questions from the judges.
This is so layered. This isn't just like a
Right.
little toy you take up in the air.
Right.
I remember taking a course on the ethics and morality and the psychology behind flying drones, right? The people fly them for the military, fly them for farming purposes, for all kinds of. This is so layered, really. And it's not. I love the coding aspect. That's.
Well, knowing it's more than just, it's not out of the box.
Right.
It's having the understanding of that your decisions have consequences.
Right.
Which is, again, life skill.
Listen, we're getting the signal, but I just have to ask you a quick question. So when they're flying, does it take stick-to-itiveness? Does it take fortitude? Because they've got to develop some of, to tweak that code or to get that. Does it take a lot, Maureen? I mean,
It certainly does. I think we have found those that are most successful are coming in and they're not spending hours with it necessarily. They're spending, moments, but it's consecutive practice, right? You're developing
Yes.
that kind of memory muscle with it, right, over time. And just with that, they gain confidence. It all kind of tends to just enhance their, their ability to be able to
so
work
next
through
fall, can they come back with some students?
Absolutely.
And we'll
I would
fly?
love to
Would
see
you do
that.
that?
I would love to see that. That would
and
be a
then
blast.
maybe we'll go to a school board meeting with them and fly there too, because that
great.
would be wonderful to see.
Well, I think it's important because right now it's grant funded, and so
Gotcha.
we're quickly approaching a place where, transparently, the district will have to make a decision if they're going to pick it up and roll with it, which I can't understand why we wouldn't, but we definitely want to make sure that we're informing all those people. So when we do ask for funds, they go, oh yeah, I remember that really cool stuff with the kids.
Thank you for your work with our
Thank you,
students.
ladies, so much
and
for
Maureen,
being here.
10
Thank you
years
for
already.
this
How did that
opportunity.
pass?
I know, right?
Wow.
Like a night.
Thank you both for all you do.
Thank you for having us.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
I know.
It's a great segment.
We do I keep telling you this every time. We do so many really, really cool things here
We do.
every day. And am so lucky because, I'm such a lucky boy. I get to see all this stuff. I do. And be able to get the excitement and the spark of the kids and just the love and dedication that these teachers show our students in our everyday.
We're grateful, really
That's
grateful.
amazing. Thanks so much.
We have a new, next guest has a lot of enthusiasm too. too. And
Yes.
she's brand new to us, a new hire.
Yes.
Right? You were
Our,
talking about the
Andrea
curriculum.
Castaldo, our new curriculum director. So
great.
she's, I don't know if you call her new, she's going to be in a new position.
Right, new position. I know. So I should have said that.
But I think saying that she's a recycle may not necessarily. So we'll avoid that. So maybe we'll not talk about that when she gets up here.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we have some good
It'll
stuff
be
coming
fun.
up.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for this next conversation, and we'll see where we go with that
Sounds good. Stick with us. We'll be back.
on the Cougar Chronicle.